good morning, and welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. Guys, this morning we're still allowing you to call in and give your comments, but we're about to switch gears as we talk a bit about AI, artificial intelligence, that is, and ChatGPT. Now, with now we are now in a technology-driven age, and with a lot of new technologies being presented to us, there's a question about how this affects our youth and young persons. I mean, even when social media just came about, the same conversation was happening. When the internet came about, the same conversation happened. And wherever there is an evolution in technology, the conversation is going to happen. How does this impact our youth? And this morning, I'm having this conversation with Mr. Teemal, who is a communication consultant and AI strategist. Good morning, Mr. Teemal, and welcome.
Morning, morning. Nice to be back.
Excellent. Now, as I said, whenever there is new technology, there's a question about safety. How does this impact the youth? How do we safeguard them from the negative or the adverse effects of the technology? But you have persons, recently we saw a CNC3 article that indicated that ChatGPT would tell 13-year-olds how to get drunk and high, instruct them how to conceal eating disorders, and even compose a heartbreaking suicidal letter to their parents if asked, according to new research from a watchdog group. That's a quote from the CNC3 article. And so this morning, we're having that conversation with you. First of all, give us your overall perspectives on this.
Right. So I love your preamble because I think what you did was put it into context. Whenever we have that new technology coming on board, whether it's, as you said, the internet, the social media, we have these questions, we have these problems. And yes, these things, what they're saying there is very, very real. Not just for teenagers, for everyone, right? And from the perspective of ChatGPT or what you call learning language models can give us information or do things that are can be harmful, can be dangerous, and so forth. And what will say to parents is what I've always said to them, that it's their responsibility to kind of guide and instruct. And it's like, if we have knives in our homes can prepare dinner, but it can also be used to harm, to self harm, and so forth. So the question is, yeah, which I've encountered with people saying, well, we need to ban it or that kind of stuff. And no, 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 no. We need to manage it because, like everything else, it's a tool. Remember, well, I don't know if it was you I spoke to or another host I spoke to last time, and I was talking about AI filmmaking and agentic AI. These are tools, and how we use them is really about us. You could take a car, drive it into a crowd of people, and you could take that same car and carry people to the hospital. So it's about the use and management of, and like all the things that are dangerous to children and dangerous to adults, there needs to be education, and from the parents and the guardians' perspective, there needs to be a lot of chats, no pun intended, to guide that process.
Right, and I'm glad even within your expertise because you do a number of things with AI, but specifically in recent time you have honed in on your filmmaking to utilize AI for your AI films, and one of the things that we see is that deep fake technology as well. Where it's
Absolutely.
difficult to tell the difference between whether a video footage is real or it's fake. In recent time, we see a lot of fraud taking place on social media with more
Absolutely.
more older persons getting caught up in where they're using video of prominent politicians or even the prime minister, and allowing them to say certain things that will promote particular investments that will cause persons to want to invest, whether it's 250,000, 250 $1,000 TT, or from 2,000 TT, with the expectation of getting $500,000 back. And
Yeah.
when you see those persons who are deemed to be credible individuals promoting this, for some persons they might get caught because they might say, well, this is a state driven
Initiative.
initiative, right? But outside of kids, outside of children being captured in the AI phenomena, there's the part where adults are also being caught up in that. So tell us a bit about that as well.
Right. So, as you know, I work with Renee Cummings, the AI ethicist, and so forth, right? And we had actually done a proposal for the Commissioner of Police where I was going to come in and show them how to recognize deep fakes and how, to demonstrate to them how easy it is to create stuff that could cause chaos and panic in Trinidad and Tobago, so that we can do crisis communication response and so forth. So that has to be managed from the state level as well. But from an individual's level, we have to recognize that there are people who will be using these tools for bad. So just like how I remember I was I was what 1991. I just started working, and a colleague of mine, a manager of mine, actually got a telex. I don't know if people remember what that is, saying that he had won some of money from a Nigerian prince and something like that, and and he spent quite a number of years pursuing it. And my understanding is he had spent some money and that kind of stuff. So what we are seeing is just the a different manifestation of the scams. We've had, even in Trinidad and Tobago, we've had the DSS. I understand now we have something called trillions. So we've had people using technology and media for decades now in order to scam people. The general advice I would give is if it sounds too good to be true, it generally is. And, I've been doing some agents for a number of agencies now. I recently put out one for TT laws and TT medicine. And the caveat or the disclaimers I always put on those is always seek professional advice before making any kind of um, decisions. So I think people need to just understand that there are new tools, but they're same concepts. Be cautious.
Right. And I say that to say that although there is the concern about young persons, 13-year-olds, 14-year-olds, your teenagers or your preteens having access to the technology to do harm, it's not just about them. It's about everyone being aware of the positive and negative impacts of the technology. Now, there are persons who would say, but this type of information that you're saying that they can get from ChatGPT, they can get it from YouTube, they can possibly get it from TikTok, they can possibly get it from
My
just
friend,
Google. Or yeah, the information
my friend.
is it's available. So what this type of things does, it incites a bit of a fear in the use of the technology with parents to allow their children to access it and use it when there are both positive and negative side to it, like with anything. As a parent, what are you advising as it pertains to guiding your children on how to effectively and responsibly use the new AI technology?
Right. So I don't have kids, but I have nieces and nephews, and I have three living in Trinidad. They're between 17 and 19 or 20 now. And just last week, I had a meeting with them and my sister, their mother, and we were discussing how, what they can use AI to do. In fact, over the last year, they have started a business and they've been doing jingles for people and they've been doing flyers and media and that kind of stuff. And so there is the positive side to everything, right? Even from a national perspective, we saw that the Minister of AI and I can't remember the other part of the ministry launched an AI assistant for the government, TT Connect. It's not 100%. It's not, I would have done it a little differently, but it's a step in the right direction, right? Showing how positive elements could be derived from the use of technology. So, we have we will always have a problem with the vulnerable in society, the older folks, the very young and impressionable. And what I would advocate is, as I said, caution, speak to others, speak to your parents. If somebody says, this could happen or that can happen, as an adult, speak to your children and say, or speak to someone and say, hey, I understand if I invest this $250,000, I can get so and so and so. That usually get a sober opinion from that. Likewise for the younger ones, speak to your parents, speak to your, people who might be more in the know, and parents keep an eye on your children. It's something that I know is much more difficult in the modern time, but we have to be vigilant. We have to be vigilant, and it's not just about the AI. I mean, I know there are situations where I have seen where people pretend to be younger than they are to go after teenagers, to go after young people. I mean, there's a big discussion in the United States right now about sex predators and that kind of stuff, and they use forums like WhatsApp and Facebook and other parts of social media to do that. The way to protect your children is not to hide them from the information, it's to educate them. Let them know that there are bad people out there who will do bad things and will do bad things to you, very, very specifically, if you, I want to say allow them, but if you give them access. And so from that perspective, we need to understand there is good, but there's also bad. And the only way to deal with that is not to hide from the problem, is not to get rid of the knives or the cars or the AI or the technology. It is to teach people, inform them. I mean, I'm hoping that something like this, even our discussion now, will be able to educate and inform people in the Tobago and even in Trinidad sphere about the dangers, but also the good and the good of it as well. I recently did something for the THA, which I'm going to be speaking to them hopefully within the next month or so, that allows all tourists, and I say tourists in a very, very broad sense, to have access to immediate information when it comes to the tourism products that are available to people in Tobago, to visitors to Tobago. And it coordinates everything, it plans, if I say, well, I want to go to Tobago for 3 days with my wife, it would literally plan the thing based on my budget and so forth. So there are lots and lots of good things that will come from the use of AI, but let us not be fooled into thinking that it will only be good. There'll be a lot of bad people, bad actors doing bad things. And the only way to protect ourselves against that is to become aware and educated and to talk to others.
Right. And, we're going to touch a bit more on that AI technology in tourism as well as AI in education. But we're going to take a quick break right here and we'll be back right after this with much more conversation. See you soon. Good morning and welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. I am continuing my conversation with Mr. Teemal, who is also an AI specialist and consultant. Good morning and welcome back.
Thank you for having me again.
Right. Well, we know that your area is particularly film but you focused recently on doing a couple AI film, and when we talk about education and the involvement of AI in education and educational tutoring and studying for young persons, we also have, those subjects like theater arts and drama that's happening at the CXC level. Have you done work with those students who are in, that particular area and kind of informing them of how to use the AI as it pertains to their SBAs and stuff like that?
Right. So I have a pretty busy schedule. I'm doing a lot of stuff in agentic AI for a lot of different companies and organizations and even now governments. But my core is AI filmmaking. And I have a pilot project that I ran in Point Fortin. I was just on the phone with them in between the break. Today is another class I'm going on there. And in that class, I have a couple of young people. One in particular, Zion, is 15, I believe he is. And I think he has been, you know, acclimatizing very well to the course and so forth. But when it comes to the particular use of AI or teaching AI to children, the only ones I can say that I can definitely account for is my two nieces and nephew, who have been, again, you know, as children are very, very fantastic in adopting the technology. They're very, very bright kids as well. So I know that with the little experience that I've had, teaching children, that there is a lot of merit in exposing children to the teaching aspects of AI filmmaking, agentic AI, and basically technology as a whole. So I would definitely recommend, as we move forward, some sort of how can I put it, a melding, an amalgamation between the theater arts and what we could do with AI. As you know, I'm a strong proponent for AI in filmmaking, and I faced a lot of negativity from my peers and so forth. But I'm slowly seeing people coming around, whether it's in advertising, whether it's in photography. Like I have a friend of mine who's done an amazing work with AI, with books and with a new project that is coming very, very soon on vanishing arts and with folklore, folk creatures and so forth. Richard Ramirez, very, very, very good stuff he's doing. So I know that there is value. From a national perspective, I would highly recommend that the Ministry of Education, Social Development, and the Ministry of National Security also look at what we can do with AI and how that can impact young people, in particular children. And as I used to work with the TTPS as a consultant, and there's always room for new ideas, new initiatives to take idle hands away from the devil, right? Which basically means the more you can focus short in a particular area, the less time they will have for, being involved in negative or even criminal activity.
Right, understood. And finally, as we are wrapping up this morning, touch a little bit on that AI and tourism aspect that you kind of hinted to earlier in your proposal that would be soon given to the Tobago House of Assembly. Tell us about the integration of that AI, and is it that when you go on the website, the Tobago website, there's an area that you could click that calls book your next trip to Tobago, just as you go online, and there's the AI chatbot. Is it something similar to that? Give us a little tease.
Right. So you have, let me just say, you are very, very, very informed. I can definitely see you are somebody that takes a lot of interest in this particular field. So what I've developed is, okay, so there are chatbots and then there are agents and then there are workflows. So what the TT Connect would have launched is a chatbot, and then they say there's an agent, but the agent is really a person to answer your question, a physical person, which is okay, right? As I said, it's a step in the right direction. What I would have developed for the Tobago of Assembly, or Tobago as a whole, is something a little more different. It's more of an agent, because what this does is it helps you, it guides you. So I'll give you an example. I will share it with Tobago, because I'll send it to the email, as well as the WhatsApp contact that I have, so you all can do some testing with it as well. But basically, it allows visitors to plan their schedules, to know where it can. And you're doing okay. By the way, you're using what they call natural language, so you can speak to it, and it gives you answers, whether you speak German, French, Dutch, Mandarin, Cantonese, Creole, whatever it is. It speaks, it understands your natural language. It basically allows you to plan your vacation. You can ask it to give you the spots in Tobago. But what it also does is, let's say if I say, oh, I want, my budget is $3,000, I want to go here, or whatever it is, it gives you a list of people to go by, and it gives you their contact information. And if you like, it constructs a message for you as well, and then gives you a link to send it via WhatsApp. So it's very, very interactive. It's very, very agentic, because it performs actual functions. And then, of course, it from a national perspective, it beats the expenditure that people would have to put out for Expedia and Airbnb and all these things, because they charge like 20% on top. This is direct interface with the hoteliers and the people who run bed and breakfast. So I'm very, very excited about the project. I'm also franchising it to Grenada and St. Vincent at the same time. So it is my hope and my intention that this part of the world will have these AI agents to help them in every aspect, from a national perspective, tourism, even reporting crime, and of course, individual businesses are now coming on board as well, because they understand the power of having an agent work for you 24/7, doesn't get upset with customers, always seeking their information and seeking, to give customer satisfaction. So it's a brand new morning, a brand new, I think that's all the team song. So yeah, we over the next couple of months, you're gonna see a lot of very, very interesting things.
Right. And we want to thank you as well for, your time this morning. And, we're wishing you all the best with your projects globally, not just locally, but even your other projects throughout the region as well. And we look forward to the Tobago House of Assembly possibly adapting that project here, to help boost
Well,
or,
it's
or to,
already done. It's just a matter of having the meetings with them. And if I'll still launch it. It doesn't matter. But I
right.
hope to have a meeting with Tasha Lee, Boris, and hopefully even the chief secretary, sorry, so that we could have this kind of nice symmetry. It's You're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. I'm gonna send it to you
Mm.
guys, but before the end of the day.
Excellent. Well, again, we want to say thank you to you, but we want to also say thank you to our viewers this morning. Thank you for your likes, your shares, and your comments, and all that you have done and continue to do to make Tobago Updates the #1 broadcaster here on the island of Tobago. Again, I am Shenell Felix, and thank you so much for sticking with us this morning. Have a great day.
It's a brand new morning, rise up to a brand new